Hi. Okay. Now you can hear me. So I made this layer specifically for our game, and that's why it's black. It's just the game against black. So we can clearly see the test. Normally it would look like this or something, like this. It's a little hard to see. So I'm doing it this way. But I forgot to put on the microphone. Okay. We have a game for chat, and it's almost ready. It's not quite ready, but it's almost ready. What you see is the game sitting there waiting for something to happen. And one of the things that can happen is we can open the queue for humans, so players can play. I have a series of admin commands that only I can do, like open the queue. And I'll set it to accept one player and play against them, like this. So it's a queue with nobody in it. I can list the queue, the waiting people, and there's nobody there, so it's empty. But I can join the queue, and anyone can do this command. It's command next match, like this. So now I'm in the queue, and I'm player 1. And because the AI has been toggled on, it's waiting a little while before a bot matches and plays against me. They're going to be player 2. There's player 2, that's bot. So now we're playing. I better get going. First thing I'm going to do is recruit a marauder. And I'm going to use the full command name, which highlights that that's kind of a pain in the butt. I've already played this a little bit and realized that's not okay, so I tried this instead. It's just recruit M. These different character types happen to just have a free letter. Marauder, engineer, archer, healer, and wizard, they're all different letters, so I can just say recruit M, and that works fine. The other commands, we have attack. Again, anyone can do this. If they're playing, they can do this. So because I am player 1, I can do these commands and they are accepted. Attack really only needs to be done once. Whoops, and I do need to recruit an actual type, otherwise it's invalid. I had it initially, according to my initial notes, the rule was if you say attack, your forces find the forwardmost place they can go and set. Everyone is set to go to that point. The hidden problem with that is that the player must continually say attack. Right? And so I had to keep saying that. And I've changed the rule now because I realize it causes people to have to spam the attack command. Instead, now attack understands that continuously you want to continue to advance. So every interval, the player controller will go ahead and find the next most forward space. And it will advance your crew forward like that. Okay, so I'm losing. And the reason is if you had to keep typing, then the skill is typing. The main skill is typing. It's like the main activity, it's the main thing the player's doing, and it gets kind of boring. In fact, I'm just cheating right now and just copying and pasting the command the command recruit M, so that I can spawn a small legion of dudes. They're currently told to hold, which means my forwardmost force, the character that's most forward, everyone go to that point and stay there, including new players. The change that made attack continuously go forward also continuously says even new recruits are supposed to get the command and go forward and hold. So there's attack, there's hold, and there's also retreat. Retreat says, hey, you're damaged. I need actual recruits to show this. You're damaged. Stay at the tree. Go back to the tree. And retreat can help with healing, because the tree heals your troops for free. It's also good to regroup and just generally pull back. And effectively, these three commands go forward, hold, or go back. So recruit, right now, there's only a Marauder. It's the only character. So, here I am just spamming the recruit Marauder command. I've got a bunch of forces sitting there at the tree, and I'll attack. So now they're no longer holding, now they're attacking. I'll continue to spawn some Marauders. Marauders. Another problem with spelling it out is I'm intentionally spelling it incorrectly. M-A-U-R. And that's going to be silly. If I ask people to spell incorrectly, it's, those aren't the skills that I want the player to get used to do. What do I want them to get used to doing? Managing the gold, to spawn characters, and to build buildings. In this case, let's build a barricade. So the other command is build. It takes arguments, and one of the arguments is barricade. Boom. So this costs more than a Marauder. But you see now a barricade's being built, and it's the forwardmost barricade. I could build another one, I think, if I have enough gold. And it'll build another one. Oh, I'm going to win. Well, okay. So at the end of this match now, there's a little intermission. I've captured their flag. Their flag shows my color. Dudes are supposed to cheer. Actually, that's one of the things I want to fix. But it's a cosmetic thing. This tree is also continuously spawning acorns. Like it wants to spawn a character. But I've set it to not do that until there is actually a player. Right now there's no player. So now the queue is empty because the game is done. The two players have been removed from the queue. And go ahead and turn off the AI. Actually, I'll keep it on. If I have this AI on, it just means that while there's only one human playing, or while there's one human sitting in the queue waiting, then after a short time, go ahead and join with a bot. So the human's not waiting too long. That's what that's for. I'll go ahead and keep it on. But I'll also turn on demo mode, which means, hey, if there's nobody in the queue, like right now, fill it with 2 bots to show off the game. So right now there's 2. And there's bot again is player 2, bit is player 1, and they play. And these aren't very smart AI. They're just reasonable. They do take some opportunity, and then they take a lot of random moves, which makes them opportunistic AI. So, what do we have working? These commands needed some help. I needed to be able to build and recruit, including recruiting all the different types. Currently, if I try to do attack or any of these other player commands, it doesn't register because I'm not in the game. Right? So all of that is working appropriately. So I was able to basically complete the back-end code. I mean, obviously Twitch is my back-end platform here. And the commands from Twitch to the game just needed to be finished up. That leaves now just the game code. This local game is sitting on my machine and playing and responding based on the commands as it reads from chat. As long as it's a player in the game, it'll read. So, and like I said, I have my admin commands as well. Not everyone can list the queue like I can, that kind of thing. I can also kick a player out. If someone's in the queue, I can kick them out. I think they must not actually be playing at the moment. I can also force end the match. So let's disable the demo mode for a second while they're playing. So they're continuing to play, but that's all. And now I'm going to try and force end the match. This is another admin command, which basically immediately ended the game. So there's a little intermission, game resets. And again, if I list the queue, there's nobody there. So again, I can queue up. It'll wait a little while, and I think our AI is on. What it's waiting for is just in case another human matches. If another human does command next match, then they'll be in the queue, and we will be matched. So now it's me and the bot. Since I happen to be player 1, it displayed that on my side. So, recruit M. Yeah, you already need to know how to spell words like recruit. And if you spell it incorrectly, which is why, it just makes sense to like copy and paste this command. But it leads to the next thing. I can spam the recruit command faster than the acorn actually spawns the character. Meaning, it will actually spend the gold, but I won't get the character. So that's a bug. I'm going to fix that. I'll do that today. And what I'd prefer is it remembers all of the characters I want spawned, and it will do it, as soon as it can, not all at once. It will still purchase, but as long as the purchase went through, effectively it'll queue up a bunch of characters that it will spawn and then spawn. Now I'll attack with all my dudes. So we did add some other things, like our flags now appropriately show colors. The colors are, there's a few more colors. Our mines appropriately show how much gold, and highlight when you've spent gold versus when you get gold. So I'm going to build another barricade as long as I have enough gold. Oh, if I don't have enough gold, it tells me so. And right now, this feedback is very direct, very obvious, very upfront, and very not in the theme of the game yet. This text that we see if I try to build another barricade, and it says you don't have enough gold, it's really just feedback for the system. I'm still working on it, so it's crude, not very fun. It's definitely not in the vein of the game, and oh, I won again. So all I really needed to do, the dominant strategy, is, make a bunch of marauders and then attack. Not too hard. Let's try it again. So again, that tree on the other side was set to spawn another one, and the game ended, so it's just continuously dropping an acorn. That's a bug. So, a couple of things to fix with the tree in particular. I can say attack and get my forces to go out a little bit, and then say hold, so that they will be at that spot and try to hold the line there. If they, defeat their guys and they're sitting there out in the open, though, I can advance them further and do the same thing. Just say attack a bit and then hold. Like that. I'm going to build a tower. Oh, don't have enough gold. And I'll build a barricade. So I can likewise say build T or build B. Luckily these are, oh, I don't have enough gold for that, jeez. I can barely read how much gold I have. I think I have 6 now. So they're holding the line, and that's pretty cool. I'm going to get them out a little bit further. Right. And with a barricade and a bunch of guys holding the line, I think I'm okay to save up gold. This is also one of the tactics the AI will do. There's a list of tactics. The AI is not very smart, but there is a number of things they can do and a priority that they try to do them in. Those are the opportunities that they take when they're available. Otherwise, they do random moves. One of these things they do as an opportunity is save up gold, which is what I'm doing right now. So I can build a tower. And right now, clearly, building a tower does not have an engineer. So there's marauder, engineer, archer, healer, and wizard. The engineer is made to be the one who builds and repairs buildings, like a barricade or a tower. Because we don't have the engineer, these things just build themselves. So I can't quite see the real behavior yet. Engineers spawned, you ask to build, and they go to this location. And while it is spawning like it is now, or building on its own like it is now, they are there working. And they are actually going to be the ones to request that the next step of the building progress go forward. And if they are killed, then they can't. So you need the engineer to continue to stay alive and be there in order to build. So we did character design work on the other characters, and what that meant is I now know what pieces I need to build in art, pixel art, for the other 4 characters. The pieces, once they are actually drawn, because I just did a sketch, but I will actually compose them, then they need to be duplicated, moved, altered, redrawn for different frames of animation. Those animation frames exported, and then I can implement the character here. Once we have the engineer in the game, we can change this behavior of building so that they don't just spawn on their own, and the rules about the engineer needing to be there the whole time will be in place. We'll also implement a repair function they can do, which leads me to believe I'm going to need to do some visual effects, some overlay on these buildings, the barricade and the tower, to indicate damage. Right now we have little visual effects that are cool, show you are, chipping away at the barricade and tower, but it doesn't show a level of damage. This would be like hit points, kind of. I mean, they do have hit points. The engineer could come in and heal the tower, basically, or heal a barricade. Repairing it, likewise, they need to be there working for a time to basically remove the damage. So visually, I need to probably show that as an overlay. A progression overlay for barricade and tower, like cracks in the side of the tower, or I don't know what, broken pieces of the barricade, I'm not sure. When we have an archer, they're going to be on the ground. They're going to be able to do a ranged attack. The arrow's going to arc over and land on enemies, doing damage. Less damage than the Marauder, but some damage. And if there's a tower, and if there aren't 2 archers already in the tower, they'll go in the tower, get up at the top, and stay there, lobbing arrows from the top, which is going to mean they can launch arrows further, hit targets from farther away, plus they're protected. Until the tower's busted, they are there. Like they're going to escape if a tower is destroyed. But we need to implement the attack with arrow projectile stuff. And that'll be a trick. I want it to look like they're angling up to like 45 degrees if they're launching as far as they can. They also need to aim down if they're up in a tower, which means I kind of need to have that character, pieces of the character need to rotate. Now we already have a shader that does layers. The layer can be on top of the bottom sprite, and that's how we do color on the flag, for example. The flag is one animation, but there's an extra layer of just the flag, and it's white, just like you see, but I can color it because it's white, and so I can change the color. When there is some, players. So an extra shader would be needed for the archer that doesn't just have a layer, but the layer can rotate. And I think it's going to have to be a special shader just for the archer because I don't see any reason to have any other layers rotate, frankly. And the arrow that the archer, shoots, obviously I need it to look like physics, but I'm not using physics anywhere in this thing at all. Like the acorn is really just animation. So, I'll do something with the arrow. It'll be special, but I think necessary. The arrow needs to fly, hit, do damage, fade away. When we do the healer, and cautiously optimistic that that's much easier because it's the same mechanism as the tree. Like, if you're close enough to the healer, you heal, just like the tree does, and that mechanism's already there. So while the healer will have like special animation, showing that they are healing, the effect is already done, basically. And that leaves the wizard. As I noted on Discord, the idea for the wizard is they basically sit at the tree. Somewhere between the tree and the flag, the wizard just sits there. And the player can then cast spells. This isn't implemented yet. This is one of the spells I have planned. And if you have a wizard, I don't know if the wizard is, well, anyway, if you have the wizard, you can do spells. And while the wizard just sits there and maybe shows a little animation like he's casting a spell, the effects of the spell is what's obviously got to be the biggest, baddest thing. They are the weakest character. If you come up and hit them, they're just going to die. There's just nothing. They can't attack very much. They don't have any armor. But the effects of their spells take up the whole enemy side of the battlefield. A dragon strike is like dragon comes in and lays down dragon fire on their side. An ice storm, etc. So clearly, not only is there a whole bunch of visual effects that need to be done for that, but like code to do the effects on the characters, whether it's damage or holding them or what have you. Those effects could also damage towers and barricades. Yeah. They're powerful. One of the spell ideas is just a shield around your tree. That's useful. So, a ways to go, and the character's the main part of what's left to do. Today, I want to fix these bugs. I want the tree to remember how many characters you wanted to spawn and just hold back on dropping the acorn until there's room for it. I'd like to fix the cheer at the end. When you win, all your forces should be cheering. And I want to fix the bug where between matches it should clear it out so the tree isn't going to try and immediately spawn. I mean, it's good progress. What is this? Less than a month. A little over 3 weeks? From scratch? Yeah. It's not bad. But I want to fix these bugs because the cleaner it is, the easier it is to finish. So recently I was able to play. I mean, like honestly, I can watch the bots play, but it doesn't matter. I need to play, right? In order to see what the player experience is and what needs to happen. This is where I found out that, oh wow, typing recruit marauder over and over again is really tedious. Typing attack over and over is really tedious. So I was able to do something about those. So now saying retreat, you only need to say it once. Saying hold, you only need to say it once. Saying attack, you only need to say it once. This changes the current order that all your forces will follow. Even the new ones. I wouldn't know that until I play tested. You know, I stopped being the designer for a moment, role play as a brand new player who's never seen this game, and see brand new stuff I hadn't noticed about this game, even though I've been working on it. It's an important skill. You have to be the player so you know what to do when you're the designer. And it is role-playing. I am pretending to be a dumb player or ignorant of what the game is about. And so I say, wait, I don't know how much gold I have. Oh yeah, I should probably display that. Wait, how come my, flag doesn't show my color? I should display that. Boy, typing attack over and over is really tedious. Can't I just type it once? I just want my forces to continue to attack. There is also some other insight. Like, hey, when would you want to retreat? Like, when does that even happen? Right? Well, if you happen to be in a bad position, your forces are low, the enemy forces are heavy, and you need to turn it around, because this game does have a momentum to it. Once you begin to have the advantage, you can kind of roll over the opponent. But they can retreat, which is always safe to come back to the tree and heal up. Your forces are now stronger. Also, you could just stay at the tree and get healing while you're in combat, which is an advantage for you for sure. In fact, actually winning the game means getting through the tree. New forces come and drop from the tree, and they're healed while they're there. So it's actually at the last hurdle. It's pretty tricky. Now, gaming this out on paper in my head, that's possible. Clearly, it's faster if the computer's doing it for me. It's clearer and faster to see this when the computer's doing it for me. But it took a while to get here, right? So I did both. I role-played it. Critical thinking got me through, thinking multiple steps ahead. But then confident enough to build it, and now I see it. So now I go, oh, okay, right. Is there a dominant strategy? Is there a tactic that you would never use? The danger of retreat was, hold on, is this something you'd never do? Like, why use it? And the answer is actually, no, you could use it. If I'm in a bad way here, like I let the opponent, build up their forces for a while, then I can use retreat to sort of get me out of the jam. In a way, the bots do that too. I mean, they're not intentionally doing it, they're just doing random moves, but with some opportunity. And one of those opportunities is, heal up troops that are damaged. I mean, there's details to that rule, but, I noticed it when bots did it, and then I tried it and realized that there's a legitimate reason to retreat at times. There's a legitimate reason to hang back and build up your gold and your forces instead of just outright attack. You'd think the dominant strategy would just be spawn troops, charge, and attack. But you can actually be at a disadvantage, especially all the way at their tree. And at that point, now the advantage is going to turn. Okay, so I think I have like one Marauder right now. The opposing force is going to be a bit stronger, and I'll see if retreat can help me out. Yeah, these bots aren't crazy powerful. They're not meant to be. They're placeholder players so that a human can be entertained. The game's not fun unless there's another player, so the bot just does the job. Okay, so I might be in a bad way at this point. My guy's damaged at this point. Might be out in the open. Like this. And so it's not good, right? And even though I'm like spawning guys to like help them out, like it's not going well. What can I do, right? Well, if the opposing force were attacking, I'd be in trouble. My whole point is I could retreat and decide that at this point I need to just build up a lot of gold and stay safe, heal up, defend from this standpoint, let the tree help me. Because it's actually a lot harder to get through this. If the tree is constantly healing the forces. And the opponent is overextended, so yeah. They're going to be drained of health. I'm going to keep spawning guys and be healed. That's a huge advantage. Which is why the healer's so cool. I want these other characters. So let's end that match. and we'll just have the bots play. There are settings that I can do. These are other admin commands. I can have it start with a certain amount of gold. I mean, it's a random number, actually. I can set a minimum and maximum starting gold for each player. I can toggle it so that the winner will play another player. They will stay in the match and be player 1. And somebody else comes in and plays player 2. So it's King of the Hill. You want to defeat the ongoing champion to become the champion and be player 1. I can set that up as well. I mean, that's already in place. I can toggle this as that. But my goal is to fix these bugs with the tree. I would love it if they cheered when they won, because that's not happening. I should be able to figure that out. It's really just an animation problem. And then I could do art, pixel art today to make the engineer at least. But I think engineer and archer would be great. And that is what I will do. Okay, so clearly, it's not meant to be just against black. It's meant to be, showing the game while I do other things like the art. And I'll do that today. I'll just have this playing while I do art. Sure thing. Yeah. I didn't really want to do a coding stream. I am going to do code, like right now. Alright, I'll do a little code. The idea would be, hey, we have some bugs to fix. Let's fix the bugs. So, I mean, yeah, not a bad idea. It goes like this. I guess I need to make sure you can see this. So I'll fire up the Twitch app. The best app ever. Okay. Cool. Just want to make sure I can see the screen. So this is the code for all buildings, including the tree, and so we'll find a way to fix the tree problems here. We have the players telling all the troops to cheer when they win. This is not working yet. It's implemented here. I would like to get this working, but this is actually probably the most boring debugging task, so I'm going to skip that one and do the tree stuff instead. Okay. So, isn't it great to have the game running while I'm doing this boring stuff? It's good, right? Which I should, allow players to play while I'm doing this, yeah. I will open the queue. And make sure there's AI available. Just in case a player comes in and says, what's going on? I could legit say, yeah. Try the command next match. And they would join, and then an AI would match with them, and that would be cool. Okay. I think that's in place. My Twitch app is at least 5 minutes behind. Okay, yeah, I just opened the queue. So, okay. For the tree, which is technically one of the buildings, there's a special behavior for these buildings, and after, periodically on this turn timer, they will do things like heal or whatever. But the result timers for special things that buildings do, like spawn. So, periodically, it's checking to see if that result timer is done. Here we go. And then what kind of building is this? It's a tree, and so spawn the character. One of the bugs is between matches, the tree is still set to spawn. And in fact, this function is not making the acorn, it's actually turning the acorn into a character. Let's confirm that. Yeah, this is actually making the acorn is disappearing on its own, but we are making some visual effects and spawning a character. So this is actually prevented from happening. If the game is running, right, that's when we can do this. Otherwise it's not, which is why we see the acorn drop over and over. We see the acorn drop over and over. Interesting. Okay, where's the acorn drop? Do spawn sets this value, and that's detected to make the acorn drop. Okay, so let's go trace this. This variable is just holding what type of character should I spawn. And it's used clearly when we spawn the character. And then we reset it to none when we're done. But here we go. So this is periodically doing whatever the building does. Like the mine spawns gold, the flag doesn't do anything, but the tree does drop an acorn if it's time to do so, and there's a character to spawn. Okay, this is a value that needs to be reset. What's happening clearly, this is still set when the match is done. And so it just continually wants to drop an acorn. I get it. So if we clear this out when the match is done, we're good. I think I have a reset function. This should be relatively straightforward if that's the case. Turn timer, build up. Stop. That's a good one. Reset. There we go. Actually, stop should also do this. Yeah. Good. So stop is actually called on all the characters, all the buildings, when somebody wins. So that'll keep the acorn from spawning, and we can test that later. The other problem with the tree Oh, that's right. So I want to spawn a bunch of marauders, and so I spam the command. Technically, this comes through the command manager to the game. Yeah, I do need humans to test that. These keywords I use to find, I can search for these and find the things I need to do still. Okay, technically speaking, there are some commands that are called from the command manager. Do recruit. So here I am spawning a character. I have the command and I'm requesting that a character be spawned. Now this will say no if I can't spawn the character yet or there's not enough gold. Because I actually try to purchase it right here. And if there's not enough gold, I say no. Easy peasy, right? Well, problem is, I can spam the command. It takes my gold, and the tree can't catch up. The tree isn't available to actually make this happen. Here I am. The game says player 1 or 2 is trying to purchase a character that's unlocked. They have enough gold. Do it. Everything's cool. And this goes to the player manager to do this command. Player manager. Build, recruit. Here it is. So it's just doing this. That's it. It's just saying, hey, tree, spawn. Which is fine. This was temporary, actually. And I can remove these. This is safe now. Yeah, this is actually done already. And include stats. That's a good one. I have so many stats that I'm recording that I can record. Don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, but implement them first and I'll figure it out later. So, okay, this is called over and over. It has taken my gold. And yeah, here's the problem. The tree, which is, the building manager here, gets do spawn. That's this command. And look, it's filling in a variable. So I could spam it all I want, but all it's going to do is override whatever was here. So I've spent the gold, but I'm only getting one character. That's the problem. There's only one character type to spawn. If I just had an array, a sequence of character types to spawn, then problem solved. I just need to add to this array, remove the character when it is spawned, and done, right? I can add to this array. I can make it an array, no problem. I can add to the array, no problem. I know I would want to add here, so that's easy. When I would want to remove, it would have to be here when I actually do spawn the character. Like first it's an acorn, and this is holding. This is holding one character type, and so when I do spawn, it references that and spawns. What I need is here, it's going to use it and tell this array of character types to basically pop, get rid of one and keep the rest. Yeah? It's push and pop. Well, it's actually first in. It's not first out, is it? Anyway. See why I don't like to talk while I'm doing my work? Okay, so remove the character. I think it's just the latest character. Okay. And I think that's going to be fine. So that I could spam this command as much as I want. As long as I have the gold, it comes here, it stacks up the character types that it should spawn, and it spawns them when it can. I haven't really tested how fast you can spawn the acorns, but I don't think there's a problem. Just makes a new one, gives it a time limit, and kills it. The result timer. Right, okay. Yeah, so this is the thing. I knew this was somewhat limited, and I've got notes all over the place saying, I've got this pattern where I have a main timer of thinking, or like a brain timer for all the objects, including like the game and the player, and each character. The combat manager on each character has its separate like brain timer, basically ticking down before it decides to do the next thing. Reasons for this, well, it includes like the ability to say attack once, and it continually attacks just on that timer. It also makes it look a little more organic. All the marauders act at, in different times, and it looks more natural. So there's good reasons to do this, but here this is limited. This pattern breaks down here because A, there's sometimes more than one thing that a building does, and in this case, B, yeah, I'm going to set the result timer to spawn the character when the acorn is done. However, I actually need a different mechanism. So an acorn is done, result timer is up, and the magic happens where I spawn the effects and the characters initiated and spawned there too. Well, what if I have a whole bunch of them? This would reset that timer. Whoops. Whoops. Can't do that. And I also can't leave this alone because while it would spawn the first one, the second, third, fourth, those would be lost. This is the mechanism that actually spawns the character. So this won't work to spawn multiple characters unless I fix that mechanism to do the same thing. I'm going to make an array of characters. I could likewise make an array of timers. In fact, why don't I do a struct? This is one variable type, and I'm going to make a series of them, otherwise known as an array. And that's cool. I could do this stuff, right? Have a stack of characters that spawn, and then pop them off and spawn one at a time. But what if I need more data than just the character type? I also need a timer. In fact, I need a timer to be tied with the character. That's exactly what I need. Well, here's what I need this tied on every character. So I need a struct. This result timer is cool, but I've been using it for two different things on the tree anyway. Let's find it. Here we go. It's just one thing. Delayed result of an action, but I actually do multiple things. Tree is here, does this, spawns the character. Yeah. You know what? This could work, actually. This could continue to work. I might leave this here. But I do need time to be tracked per character type that I want to spawn. And I'll just use the result timer to continue doing what it does as well. So I'm just adding to this complexity a little bit, no big deal. Yeah, character type is necessary, but we also need timer. We need some way to track the time, so let me do this. I'm going to put it here and I'll move it up. Struct, a brand new variable type just for this mechanism to spawn a character. It's going to include this type. I know it's going to include the spawn time. There we go. Now instead of an array of this, I'm going to make an array of this. And I'm going to add to that array here. I'm going to remove the array here. I'm going to check the array to get the spawn time. Actually, this needs both this and... Yeah. Because I may change this amount of time to spawn at some point. I want that functionality to be there already. Alright, so this is going to be something like that. In fact, I probably need to not have any literal numbers at all. Where's my acorn? It is this amount of time is probably, yeah, I use it more than once. I may actually want to tune it. Yeah, let's do this right now, before I forget. Instead of a literal, that is just there. Let's put it up here. Let's call it acorn spawn life. And how much time until the acorn disappears and the visual effects replaces it and the character is spawned. All this is happening at this amount of time. destroy the acorn and this too, but I'm going to have to fix that. That's going to go here. Okay, so let's move this up there where variables are defined. Yeah. And I need to keep a series of these. It's definitely going to be private. Like, naming of variables and how I organize it up at the top here is something I've learned you really do need to do. You want to do it because it helps make things go faster, maintain things easier, etc. Okay. Cool. Go ahead and initialize that. There's no reason not to have it always there. When I remove all of the characters, it'll still say that there is an array with a 0 length, so that's appropriate. Okay. So that is defined. It's called spawn characters. And where am I? Down here. I'm looking at the green in the scroll bar here to see where I am. Also, the red is telling me, oh, I already have a function called spawn character. Change that. And the red tells me exactly where this is called. There we go. Done. Okay. So there is a function called spawn character. And I'm probably just going to... I don't need this because I know... Wait, do I know? Hold on. This uses that one variable I had. Actually, let's take this out. Let's take this out because then Visual Studio helped me replace it. Yeah, this goes away. In fact, let's move this right here. That's where that goes. Okay, now that I've done that, all the red tells me where I need to replace this. So this was the thing. If I'm spawning a character, then this exists, right? That's safe, isn't it? Why is this saying no? Oh, right. So yeah, no, this is always the same thing. It's always the oldest one. Yeah, so I'll fix that. In fact, let's do it right now. This function had an argument. I'm going to get rid of it. I don't need it. In fact, I didn't need it before. It's right here. Yeah, I don't even use it here. That's hilarious. This, I can still actually check and validate this exists. So let's do that. And this is going to be replaced. In fact, let's just do that now. Oop. There we go. I mean, this is kind of like refactoring. Refactoring means revise it while the functionality will remain the same. You're doing it a different way, and that's technically what we're doing. So I'm just going through and replacing wherever there's red here. This no longer exists. I need to do this. I know, I'm about to do it. I'm still going to write this note. You never know, power could go out. Okay. To stop means let's not do any of this. And so spawn characters actually is going to be reset entirely, right? I think so. Just like the initial default value of a 0 length array, we're going to do the same thing. So again, this is an array of 2 pieces of data, which type and how much time. Okay, so here is the function that is called periodically. Like every couple of seconds, every building does their thing, their building power. Just like the mine spawns gold. The tree checks to see, based on this timer, and character type. Okay, so here's where I'm doing 2 different things with a timer. It's not the result timer necessarily, though. Yeah, this is already messy and complex. I am doing healing on this timer as well. What trees do, they spawn and heal. Makes sense. But this has changed. First of all, this doesn't exist. But also, I'm doing this. I'm saying there can't be time on the result timer, meaning an acorn has dropped. So don't do this. Wait until the result timer's 0. All right. This is why we can't spam the command. This is running, and therefore you can't spawn an acorn. If the timer was up, then you could. That's why we can't. That's why you can, be drained of gold, but you don't get characters. It's because of this condition. So, I think we just say spawn acorn. No, we don't. We check to see if there's any new character type. No, this is called... Okay, here's what's up. I'm waiting until the brain on the tree, evidently, is ready to do a thing, and then if it's queued up to spawn an acorn, do it now. That's what I'm doing. I'm waiting for that. But really, the command has already happened. The command to spawn an acorn is here, and it's like... it's queued it up. Okay, let's add some more data to this struct, because I'm realizing what I need is to track whether or not the acorn is already spawned yet. Right? Because if it has not, then then drop the acorn. Well, it's going to be hard to peek and find that. I don't know if it's hard. I could probably do it from right here, but I'm going to make a separate function, collect it with all these things, just to stay organized. Here we go. This function is going to basically check, hey, should I drop an acorn? Hello, hello, hello. This is asking the question, do we need to drop the acorn? If the answer is yes, then we just do. Do I need a separate function for this? Okay. In the extreme, you could spam this command and have tons of acorns waiting to drop. But I only want to drop one each time the brain of the tree takes over. So, yeah, I do need a separate function. This is at this moment, while the tree is ready to drop an acorn, should we drop an acorn? The answer is yes or no. Okay. So, it's true if I go through all of these and find one that has not dropped yet. And then it's true. Otherwise, we return false. Among all of these spawn characters, have we dropped all their acorns? Okay, and if the answer is no, not dropped the acorn, then this is true, and we should probably break. Don't need to go through all of them. Okay, so this is called, and it returns true if we really should drop an acorn. Otherwise, it has gone through all of the characters we need to spawn, and acorns have already been dropped, so it says false. Cool. Meaning this I think result timer is still going to be 0. Yep. No. Because result timer is going to be doing something else. Okay. I don't want to lose that, just in case that's what I need. Okay, this is spawn acorn. think that's right. I'm not entirely sure yet that we need the result timer to be 0. I think we can just use it to spawn the acorn. That's what this is. Is that what that is? No, this is actually spawn the character. Right. That's what result timer is about. Which means this needs to be, for the tree, this needs to be changed. Because the only thing we're doing on a result timer. Okay. This needs to be changed. Yeah, we don't. We don't need this here. We don't need that. I'll change it if I need to, but I'm pretty sure now. Okay. What we're talking about is the tree gets the signal to spawn and queues all this up. Yeah, actually, the actual spawning of character on the result timer. That means for the tree, this needs to be continually set to the amount of time that character needs before it's spawned. There could be multiple characters spawning in a series, and so this may not be the full time. Okay, but it's the time remaining. Okay. In other words, I need to run down the timer on all these. Forgot about that, but let's do that too. So we have all the data, and we're trying to manipulate the data. Okay. Run spawn timers. Yeah, absolutely. And it's probably best to say update. Because, yes, it's going to go on update. As long as it's alive. Well, the tree's never dead. If the game is running, this is a tree, please update the spawn timers. meaning go through all of these. Run them all down to 0. Yeah. Now, while I'm here, I'll bet I can find this value, because this is going to spawn the character as long as this is 0 and it's a tree and the game's running. So while I'm here, I know what the shortest time is. So after going through all these, the result timer on this tree, because only trees can do this, the result timer on this tree should be set to the shortest time. Now, there could, theoretically, could there be multiple characters to spawn and they've all hit 0? Would this still work? Yes, because as long as there's one, it finds the shortest. If multiple are 0, then this value is 0, and the result timer is 0. Actually, I need to set a tiny amount of time, so it's not 0. But then this will work. Oh, let's do it this way. Let me just say this could actually be a negative number, but give me the largest of these two. There. Okay. So basically, immediately, no matter what, right? Immediately, or whatever shortest time left is. Cool. Whatever the oldest character is, that's what we'll remove, and this will be updated. That's fine. Okay, so good. We're removing at the right time. We're tracking a timer for each thing and using it for the trigger for this function, so we're okay. Triple check that. Triple checked. Okay. So this is working out. if I use this, track that, do this. Oh, I only want to do the timer thing if that is dropped already, right? Yes, that's true. In fact, I'm just going to take whatever time, even if it is less than 0. Yeah. I mean, because I want to do this calculation, so I could do this. That's fine. If it's 0 or less, it won't run it down any further, but whatever. Effectively run out. Excuse me, at some point I need to warm up this coffee. Because coffee, right? In fact, I might do that right now. Okay, much better. While I'm updating the spawn timers, let's see, the only time I know I've dropped the acorn is this. Yeah, this is no longer correct. I mean, I'm already setting that. I don't need that. I am going to destroy the acorn after that time, but I've made it now. So here's where do I call this actually? It's going to be the oldest one. Just like I'm going to remove the oldest one. This might not be necessary to be a separate function, but yeah. This is the only time I know that I've dropped an acorn, so I need to do this. Okay. Drop the oldest, remove the oldest. Okay, so now add to it, remove it, and drop. This is what we need. And then I'll go back over and trace through, make sure I've got everything. So the commands come in, add, and this is just going to be a list. It could be, 700 stacked at once. Okay, it's okay. None of them are set to have dropped yet, so this is true immediately. I'm going to add them. When I do drop, it's going to drop the first one that was set, the oldest. And it's going to remove the oldest one that was set here, and it's no longer needed. Okay, got it. So here's where I just accessing the element in this array and saying the acorn is now dropped. Okay. So, and this also sets the timer. Good thing I remembered that. Okay. Acorn spawn life. Yeah, that's the one I need. Okay. Let's add, remove, and drop acorn. This is the last part of it. This pattern, use it all over. Now, one could argue I could just use a list. Instead of a dynamic array, I could use a list. It has add and remove and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay, fine. The arrays are here, and now that there's a nice sorting UI in the editor, it's actually nice to use these. I've just gotten used to this pattern. So, I'm adding to this array that's already here. So spawn characters is here. It has some length. I'm going to add to it. And so now there is an array, a temporary array of spawn characters. That is one more than what we had. Let's actually go through the one we have and copy. And when we copy, obviously we're missing the extra one because that doesn't exist yet. But for the whole length of the ones we do have, the temporary one has an extra. At the very end of this array, in other words, length -1, there's a new one. And I guess I'll just do this. The acorn dropped is false by default. Type is type. Just to make sure this is a member of spawn character. This is an argument in this function. Good. Same name, two different objects. And spawn time. Well, it's 0 by default, and so I don't need to do anything. This is all good. So the temporary array now has the extra element in it and a copy of all the previous ones. Cool. Now all I need to do is make our list of characters equal the temporary array, and done. Temporary array only exists here, and then it's gone. So we use it at the very end. Cool. This means that the most recent one we added is at the end of the list, or the end of the array. So to remove the oldest, we're just going to validate that this actually has what it should have, just to be extra safe. Okay. In this case, to remove the oldest is to remove the first. So I don't want to do the first one. The first one being element 0, and so I'm just going to start at 1 instead, and done. What happens if this is a length of 1? Well, then this value is make the temporary array a length of 0, and then from element 1 to, as long as 1 is less than the length, which it is not. No. Length of temporary. No. Less 1 is 1 less than the length. No, it's not. It's equal to. Right. If this is 1, and so now the temporary array is 0, this array that we're trying to copy is a length of 1, is 1 less than 1? And the answer is no, it's equal. So this will be entirely skipped in case there's just 1 in there and it's going to be 0. At the end, it is equal to an array that is empty. Done. Okay, so this will totally work. We've removed the oldest. Okay. Set the oldest. We don't need to do any of that, actually. This... actually, yeah, the oldest is 0. Right. This is actually simpler. That's it. That's the whole thing. But we also need to set the timer, okay. So actually, yeah, probably don't need to do a separate function for that. Probably don't. It's not terrible. We wouldn't be doing this unless there was an element in that array, so this should be safe. Otherwise, I'd be concerned about accessing the array. Actually, we should validate it. No, I mean, seriously, hold on. You can't spawn the acorn unless there is... Where's this called? I'm just trying to validate there is... Should drop the acorn because we did this. And I'll tell you, if we did this, that already has validation, does it not? Indeed, because this is starting as false. So it can't be true unless there is actually something there. Yep. Okay, so we're good. We don't need to do this. Okay. I mean, we'll get a big old error if there is a problem, but I think it's fine. So, time to review, because it looks like we did the whole thing. I get 1,000,000 signals to spawn characters, fine. Before it was a problem. Now it's totally fine. We know what type. Oh yeah, we're not doing this. We know what type, and that's all we need. So we're just adding to an array. We say, give me the type, I'm going to make a new one, set it, done. So we just have 1,000,000 of these. That's totally fine because it's a dynamic array. We're good. And on update, these timers are run down, so it goes through the array and finds anyone that has been dropped and runs down the timer and returns the shortest value to this result timer on the tree. On the tree, this means spawn the character. So it's giving the shortest value, and even if there were 1,000,000 of these set at 0 at this point, it's only going to do one at a time. That's the idea. But all the timers are running down, so you can spawn them as fast as you want. It's still going to take some time. When the tree is thinking, it checks this to see if it should drop an acorn. So it's looking through all of the array of spawn characters to see if there's one that hasn't been dropped yet. If there is one or more, then this is true. And when that is true, it does this. It spawns the acorn, which we already have. We already had this. This is the same, except we say, yeah, an acorn actually was dropped. Now, before we check to see, is there one that wasn't dropped? And now we say, okay, but now it's dropped. And while we're here, let's set the time. So now this will be running down on update. Meanwhile, the acorn is like falling and rolling around and sitting there for a moment until this is up. At that point, because the update timers are going down, the result timer is happening, and it is set to the shortest amount of time. That means that this is going to happen. And so spawn character happens. It looks at the oldest one, because that's one it's going to work with. Yeah, I should probably just place that. Does its thing, and then removes the oldest one. Boom. Yeah, I don't need to do a separate thing here. This is fine. Cool. I think that's right. And we'll find out. And we'll find out. Here's the deal. Testing this stuff while I'm streaming has a couple of problems. One is, hey, the game's already running. It's running at the bottom of the screen. This is not the build that you see running on stream. It's in the editor. So not only would it be confusing to see both, but there's also the fact that this tries to connect to Twitch. Now I can like disable this stuff. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I could disable this stuff, I guess. Who cares if it's confusing, right? Okay, so what I'd be wanting to test is spawning a bunch of characters. Do I have the ability to do that? Do I have a cheat code to spawn characters? Not exactly the same command. No, it's not, actually. Yeah, I can't test this. Can't test this while I'm streaming. And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I updated on the... I updated y'all on the progress. Just to say, I showed off what the game is doing now, and what I really, really needed it to do next, which is just a couple of bugs to fix. I would love to fix the cheering. When one side wins, all of their troops should be cheering. There's a little cheer animation, you know. That's not playing, and it's really, you know, cosmetic. It's a minor issue, but it's annoying because it's literally the last thing that I need to fix. But we also found some other bugs, and so that's what we just did. We got the tree to not drop an acorn while in between matches. What we saw was a match would end and it would reset, and an acorn would be continuously dropping, the tree thinking that it needs to do that. That's stopped. Even though we totally refactored how characters are spawned, and we refactored how characters are spawned because now you can spam the command to recruit new characters, and it's okay. The tree remembers all the characters you want to spawn, and it will drop acorns in its own time, and the acorn will signal to each one to properly go poof from effects and actually appear from the acorn in its own time. In theory. And we should test that theory, but I can't test it here on stream. Instead, I'm going to test it offline. And yeah, I guess it was a coding stream. What do you know? We actually did a coding stream. So, yeah. I'm hoping if I can get the cheer to work and the rest of this stuff works as expected, then it's all about art and not code. So I might do an art stream next. Yeah, I'll do an art stream next. Cool. Cool. Have fun. Take care. Do well. Be good. Stay safe. See ya.